Rivers State High Court in Port Harcourt has restrained the sole administrator of the state, Vice Admiral Ibok-Ete Ibas, retired, from inaugurating the newly appointed chairman and members of the Rivers State Services Commission. The injunction was issued by Justice Frank Onyiri pending the outcome of a legal dispute filed by the previously appointed commission members who were suspended by Ibas. The suspended appointees, led by Reverend Goodlife Idioku Ben, argued that their removal was unlawful and lacked due process. They claimed they were legally appointed and confirmed by the House of Assembly before being issued letters by the governor. The claimants insist that the sole administrator had no constitutional authority to suspend or replace them. Justice Onyiri directed all parties to maintain the status quo and adjourned the matter until September 29 for judgment. The defendants in the case include Ibas, the state's accountant general, and multiple financial institutions, including Access Bank and Zenith Bank. Chizi, what do you make of this story?
Yes, this story is very interesting, and I can tell you that I spoke on this issue when they were first appointed, when they were first dissolved. I supported the dissolution, and that was because there were informations I didn't take. And those informations were that I didn't know that these persons were screened by Martins Amehule's own assembly.
Oh, they were screened by Martins
Amehule's assembly.
And not
this forum. Not the forum.
Okojombo.
Okojombo's forum.
All right.
They were, because that's what the court called them. So I'm calling them the right name. So they were screened by that. And if they were screened by that, you see, the reason why we don't have to be dissolving or, disbanding institutions like that is one of the relics of dictatorship. That is just what is found in military. Suspending constitutionalities and doing all of that. These persons were, you understand, get my word, they were, duly screened by that Martins Amehule's assembly. And that means they were legal. All you needed to do, and what has caused their dissolution, what is it that you wanted to dissolve them for? As in what? You could dissolve the commissioners. Yes, of course, the appointees. When somebody comes in, you can work with other appointees. But those commissions, are not the commissions issue because they run on tenure. They are almost like elected. As soon as they are appointed, they seem like elected. That's why they have tenure. You see, a commissioner, of course, if you appoint a commissioner, like I tell, that's why a president can wake up and say, in 2 years, I'm going to reshuffle my cabinet. Nobody holds the president for doing that. But for the commissioners, you don't do that. Now, if you look at even, I think Buhari did it, Tinubu has also continued with it. You find out that when Buhari came on board, some of the APC persons were saying, no, now there are so many PDP persons in the MDS, therefore you should. Buhari waited for some of them for their tenure to expire and then appointed new ones. And the same thing Tinubu is queuing up with. And I think that what he did was a little bit in haste. But having done it, and the court has come to make pronouncement. And I hear this morning he's going ahead to even inaugurate them. There's no problem. We would also ask that we be peaceful. The people who has gone to court has gone to court. The court is there. One thing about the court is, one thing people don't understand is the court of first instance is very sensitive in the judicial precedents. Just look at 90% of the cases that has been decided in the Supreme Court. They have almost always taken cue from the court of first instance, because the court of first instance sees the technicalities of all of this. And if a court that is in a high court of Rivers State that is presided over or by the sole administrator can rule against the sole administrator on issues that he has done, it means that the court has gone beyond being political in this instance. And so, but then they also have rights to go for an appeal, and if they go for an appeal, the status quo remains. And so they can go ahead. I'm sure the court will rule. But that the court adjourned this thing to September 13. For me,
29.
September 29. Way too far when they
must have taken effect and whatever. Well,
not even taken effect. Yes, they would have done something. And then again, by September 28 or 18, this administration, these 6 months will have elapsed. So do you understand? Though government is a continuum. You are giving government, you know what that means? That you are even giving the incoming governor, Sim, the opportunity to dissolve them by the court pronouncement. Because now he comes, he can say, dissolve them and withdraw from going for an appeal. Because that is, you have given him a foundation. And again, let me look at it from another angle. You see that this reconciliation somehow between Nyesom Wike and Sim is bringing dividends. Let me tell you why it's bringing dividends. This court ruling is part of it. I understand that. You know, no, I don't want to go into that.
You mentioned it. So
yes,
I'm
but
interested.
Let me say something. You can't force me to say something that I will not say. But I'm going to tell you that, you know, the politicians are coming together to say, no, we can't continue to leave this thing like this. Do you understand that? And that's actually what is happening. The politicians are coming together. You will see a lot of court pronouncements. You will hear a lot of court pronouncements. A lot of court pronouncements will come because the politicians are together. You know, when our family is having issues, when we are divided, you know, you can allow any posters to begin to do whatever they want to do. But when we are together, all of us will begin to withdraw our destinies, and then you will force people ordinarily without lobbying to do the right thing. And so that is what is going to happen. And I think that the court pronouncement that came is on the right side. And I would have asked that the sole administrator listen to the court. Let him be democratic. You know, let him not be accused of being dictatorship. Of course, he's coming with his military mentality to go ahead to do what they want to do. Of course, it's not just military. We have had an avalanche of that, you know, the occurrence of all of this, you know, people not obeying court orders because the court itself does not have the machinery to execute to
implement their judgment.
So the implementation of such judgment will be purely on the executive, and the executive is the Security Council. And I think that the security should have also gone to advise the sole administrator that the route you are going is not too good. Lolisha, when you invited me to this event today, I suspected all of this, and I said, Lolisha, you want to kill me because I'm having political leaning. Don't kill me. Certain questions I will not answer, and I will not talk again. I will withdraw to say again.
No. Well, interesting. Fingers crossed that nothing is off the table at this point, Chizzy. You also have to know that nothing is off the table. But before I come back to you for some of the things you don't want to say, I'm interested to know what Nze has to say. Nze, go ahead.
Well, I am happy that some of my earlier stands is being vindicated today. And, people like Chizzy is now turning back to discover that some of us were truly good prophets. And Ibas, the emergence of Ibas, we cried foul. But we know that his coming was illegal. We tried to push for it. But if I begin to place my blame on him, I will start from the presidency, then down to the National Assembly and all that. And you see how the thing is trickling down. At first, I said the Rivers people who are clapping for this illegality because of their hatred or dislike for Sim, we later discover that when you pack your home person in a packer, an outside person will help you throw it out. So, and that is what is happening now. Ibas knows that his coming is illegal, even as Vice President Shetima asserted just a few days ago. Now, look at Ibas coming to carry on illegal activities. You were brought in as a sole administrator. They said you were coming to maintain peace. Now, how is maintaining peace involve dissolving legitimately appointed body, as important as State Service Commission, Civil Service Commission, State Electoral Commission, and all that? You just suspended. In fact, what is he not even suspended? He dissolved them, and now appointed new one. And look at it, is still National Assembly that screened these people, including the chairman, who does not reside in Port Harcourt.
He is from
who is not from River State.
Cross River, so.
He is not a citizen in River State. He's not an indigene in River State, because these the two areas I believe that someone can take part in something. He has not been here as to know what has been happening around and who is who. Then you brought him. Now, if they wanted to have hid their intentions, they would have taken from maybe from north. But Ibas is from Cross River. RISEC chairman is from Cross River. What do you want to do? One state swallowing the other. This is the dream of Pharaoh and the fat cow and slim cow. It is very clear today that Cross River State has swallowed River State is fatter than Cross River, but Cross River has swallowed River State because they are in charge of governance in this state. They are in charge of elections in this state. And the National Assembly passed these things to law. Now, yesterday we heard that court barred them. But this morning the news I was hearing was that court now denied that such thing never happened. But you know, in Nigeria, anything can happen once they're able to get to the media and something springs up. Now, while the fire is there, you will only see the smoke rising up. And we believe that someday, some good people will trace the channel of the smoke down to where the fire is. And by that time, it will be open. But looking at it again, if truly, by this news we read this morning, the court barred him, but he has gone ahead, contrary to what court is saying. So to him, court means nothing. Just like things we suffered last year and sometime early this year, when we were seeing flagrant disobedience to court orders. Some we applaud, some we reject, and things like that. Look at this man coming to continue the same thing. Do you want me
to remind you of your position to that?
Yes, now, that's why I say some we applaud and some we reject. And why those things were playing like that was because when it favors anybody, he says, yeah, the court is the last hope of common man. And when it is against the other. So because the other opponent is playing by that rule, every other person had to play in order to survive for the day. Even though we know that that was not good for the society. Because the court supposed to speak. And once the court speaks, every other person will sit down. But you remember that in this place, I said that judiciary in Nigeria has been corrupted. That we can't even trust them again. That's why you see that by midnight, 12 a.m., somebody is still filing a motion in court. And by before 6 a.m., court has made pronouncement.
Ex parte order.
Ex parte order. The thing was flying here and there. And I said, those who are administering justice, those priests in the temple of justice, they should see the evil they are bringing to themselves because they allowed evil man to be on top. And look at how it is telling on us now. Look at where this thing will harm us. Just as she said, court has made pronouncement. Ibas has gone ahead to commission them, to swear them in. So they will keep serving until a day. Just like it happened to similar Fubara, you know, when Omotosho gave his verdict, though we stood against it, I personally stood against it strongly because when you follow back to the tragedy, you discover that this man came back to withdraw his affidavit, but these people left there, so it was a trick. And now, that thing continued until finally Supreme Court gave order. And once Supreme Court...
But he was also disobeying orders as well.
Yeah. That's why I said he was... Yes, he was disobeying court judgment. So that's why I say some we applauded. I can't do something and...
You applauded every disobedience by the governor, actually.
Based on the way those orders were coming. So, but however, see now, it has happened to him. And we cried foul. We accepted defeat. Those of us that fought with Sim, we accepted defeat. Yes, that is me. And now that Ibas has come to continue with this illegality, his coming was illegal. Disbanding, suspending or dissolving this body was illegal. Appointing new ones was illegal. Swearing them on, illegal. We are watching. Very soon, he will conduct local government election. But one thing I will advise Rivers people is this. They have the RISEC. Ibas has the RISEC. What I don't know is whose structure is Ibas protecting. Is it Tinubu structure? Or Ibas structure? Or Wike structure? Or Rivers people structure? But I will advise that Rivers people should team up now, irrespective of the divide you fall. Whether you are for APC, you are for PDP, you are for Wike, you are for Amoehule, now that we have come back by the ruling of the court, let us, and already Wike and Sim are settling, let us come back and say no to this illegality. On the day of that local government election, let people cast their vote, defend their vote, follow the vote until it is announced. Let us make sure that the people, the candidate, the favored candidate of Ibas will not see light of day. That the favored candidate of any of these political bigwigs who had kept us into where we are, because I'm suffering it. I'm a citizen in Rivers State. I'm not indigent, but I'm a citizen. I've lived in this place for more than 20 years. So I am a beneficiary of their bad government.
You're right.
So let the Rivers people stand out. Cast your vote. Do not allow them to enjoy our party that they vote our party, because it is in voter party they have their way. Let us all come out en masse, because I will make sure I see a candidate whose manifesto will represent my interests and the interests of the masses. Then we'll support that person.
Okay.
By that day, we'll cast our vote, we'll defend our vote.
You're right, very well. Chizzy, what do you have to say?
Yes, I'm coming up the second time because I wanted to just make some disclaimers so that it's not like I've been consistent in what I support. I've supported every court pronouncement because I've said to people, obey the court pronouncement first. It doesn't matter how it is. Of course, recall all my tape, you will understand that's been my position. That obey the court order. It doesn't matter what happens until we get it right, because we must begin to obey institutions to get it right. Now, I have never said, and I will never say, that appointment of Ibas was illegal. Never will I say so. Never have I said so. I've defended it, and I've told people that even those who mention it to be undemocratic, I found where they find their definition of the concept of democracy. And I said, if a democratically elected president appoints somebody, the person becomes democratic. It's not whether it's undemocratic or not. He could say unconstitutional. Even as unconstitutional, we have caught them with the constitutionalities of what he has said. And I've also said on the moral ground that if you look at what was happening in Rivers State, you will understand that there is no more war, that you couldn't have had a better war than what is happening, because you want to nip it at the bud. You don't want, you have to be proactive, not than reactionary in managing crisis. But on this, like I've said, if you also look at the RESEC, when people talk about appointing a cross-riverian, into the appointment, it is because in our society we have a way of looking at where the person comes from, or all of that, other than looking at whether the person has what it takes to be able to what will I say, execute the mandate of his office, other than where are you coming from. No wonder Nzehu has stayed here, not staying as a boy, actively staying, participating economically, participating politically, had to participate politically. He's still saying that I'm not an indigenous of Rivers State, even when the Constitution says that he is. He is the one who is saying that. Because of that, and that is what has kept us back. I am not more of a Rivers person than Nze, because I have stayed in Abuja through my life. I just came back like 10 years ago. So in that instance, he's even more Rivers, except that we claim on our fathers and all of that, that does not have any bearing. Yes, Aborigines. That does not have any thing with our performance. That's why we make the wrong choices always. Check out in those days, there were this Hausa guy, a Muslim guy who was even a mayor in Onitsha. It did happen. I think Enugu. He was a mayor in Enugu. It didn't matter then, because our people related with each other, and we were doing well. That's why you say I had condemned ab initio that thing they call abundant property that happened in Rivers State. I've condemned it and will condemn it, because it has a way of making people be suspicious of even their investment. I asked a question. If you go to the judge, for instance, and you see houses that are built by people other than Rivers people, and I said, is there any day they will take those visits and go? Are they paying revenues to local government in Imo State or in Yoruba or all of that? It's not invested. So let us begin to think that way. So I also say that if I wanted to applaud that appointment, it is to the extent that this our own thinking, a biased thinking, has a way of tracing us, no matter how good the person is, or stressing us to the root of the person to find his relatives and all of that, to compromise the electoral system. But we are here. The man is not from here, and all of that. So it doesn't matter if you say don't support a Ibas' own candidates or whoever candidate. The question is, there is no cross-riverian can come here to contest election as local government chairman. We are going to have our people. So if the people have done politically to go meet Ibas to support them, and you find out that if I am going to be local government chairman, and then he knows that I'm good. He knows that I can do it very well. And just the only sin I have committed is that I'm coming from Wike or Amechi or Ibas, and so I shouldn't be voted. That's a little bit unfair with me, because in politics, the Bible that he preaches tells us that the people will come to your light and the kings will come to a rising. So when the kings comes,
who are you to turn them down?
Who are you to turn the kings down? I wanted to get that.
Interesting position. Interesting position there, Chief. I mean, you know, the Bible that you carry is according to Jesus, not me, by the way. But I want to delve a bit into the activities of the National Assembly Oversight Committee oversight on Rivers State, and what exactly have they been doing? Not too long ago, Chizzy, I don't know if you were a guest on my show on the day we discussed the discovery of the House of Rep, you know, Committee on Rivers State Oversight, where they questioned certain ridiculous budgets. Right, the one of CCTV, I think 24 billion naira for CCTV, and about 3 of them. Now, moving forward, they said that they gave a number of hours for that to happen, for a report to be submitted to them, and after that, we've not heard anything again. Now, moving forward, the National Assembly did, you know, play their oversight function on these people, interviewed them and all that. One would say, did the National Assembly look into the dissolution of the earlier commissions and the appointment of these ones, and then ask questions around the legality and illegality of this action by Ibas?
Yes, you see, let me correct one thing. You know, we have always said the National Assembly oversight on Rivers State. Even them who mentions that, that's not correct. That's not an oversight. The National Assembly, the Constitution provides for, in the absence of a legislative house, for a National Assembly who will now become like a House of Assembly. So it's not actually the oversight, it's a function. They are actually supposed to be staying here. That's what is supposed to happen, you know, so that they can get, you know, the feelers of the people to know all of that. But of course, in this angle, I think they are also getting it right. And again, to say that they are human. You know, the frailty of man allows you make certain mistakes. People wants to get a budget. Budget is a very serious matter. People just wants to allow budget. It's one funny, I wouldn't say the period, and maybe you say that you don't zero it to somebody. There's one period in our democratic history where I had a budget. I saw the budget in the distance, and I knew that I was going to take advantage of that budget in proposing, you know, creating something. So I met an assembly member, and I said, this budget like this, and he said, is it there? That's an assembly member that passed the budget. I don't know whether you understand what I'm saying. He said, is that in the budget? And I was looking at him, but I said, yes, honorable. So I showed him the thing in his budget, and only to find out. And then he was among the signatories of the same budget, you know, those who passed the budget. So it looks to me that they do not look into the nitty-gritties of the budget. You know, how did the budget come? Why are you doing that? It looks, again, that budget is purely on percentage allotment. It just have allotted, okay, there was a budget for 3 billion last year, just put 15%, every items in that budget. No wonder you see that if you analyze our budget, including the country's budget and the budget from 1983 to now, you'll be shocked that certain items have repeated itself in those budgets, those small items. We don't question that. We don't look at the budget, and I think that's what the research of the house, you know, whichever house that is now, is supposed to be doing, to know this budget, this thing is repeating itself, or this thing is like this, is it incremental, or what is happening around there. But again, if they had asked questions, and it is not also on the known whether they have provided answers to those questions, it is not on the known, it's not on the media, whether they have provided, no wonder. So one could have assumed that it was just based on the strength of them providing those answers to those questions that they would have passed the budget. Because they cannot frame ignorance of that budget again. If you go to court, no wonder there are certain budgets that you can go to court to quash, to say, no, I have seen a budget that's been done in my village and repeated in the 3rd year of a government. And I was mad. And I wrote a letter, no wonder that person didn't allow me win House of Assembly, House of Reps election 2015. The person fought me blatantly.
All right.